Imagine the year is 2014. Marvel just announced that they are developing a Black Panther film, and Chadwick Boseman is an obvious and perfect leading man for the movie. Having played Jackie Robinson in 2012, Boseman immediately became Hollywood's favorite leading black man in the modern era, appearing in prestige dramas such as Get On Up. Boseman appeared as Black Panther in Captain America: Civil War in 2016, but it was still going to be interesting to see how the first Black Panther movie would turn out at the time, not only since it was Marvel's first black movie, but also because it was an action and adventure movie with a high budget centered around black characters, something we've never really seen prior to this. Before 2018, black stories were never told on the grand scale of a Marvel movie, so there was considerable curiosity but also considerable reluctance. It was originally intended that Ava DuVernay, fresh off of her critical hit Selma, would direct. However, she departed due to creative differences and was replaced by another up-and-coming black filmmaker, Ryan Coogler, fresh off of Fruitvale Station and the first Creed film. Even so, I, like probably many other black people, still had concerns about the quality of the film and whether it would do justice to the characters, as well as whether a post-Obama and at the time Trump-era society would accept a movie about Black Panther. And then, on October 2017, the first trailer for the film was released.
It's a third world country. Textiles, shepherds, cool outfits, all front.
Explorers have searched for it. Called it El Dorado. They looked for it in South America. But it was in Africa the whole time. I'm the only one who's seen it. And made it out alive.
As a result of this teaser, most black Americans and everyone else in general were blown away by the teaser, and most people, especially black people, understood that for generations of black Americans, the depictions of Africa they have seen were pitiful, to say the least. Despite a world of stories in our mythologies and our historical lore that could be told about Africa, the most and best we could get would be a flashback right before colonization. But what we saw in this trailer was different. This trailer showed us a picture of Africa with the color and beauty of the continent and various permutations. Moreover, it was not just a loving image of Africa, but also an image of what Africa could have been if colonization hadn't occurred. Using elements of fashion, art, and dialect, Coogler and the movie's designers blended them into modernity, evoking the tropes and ideas of Afrofuturism, a philosophy that explores the intersection of African culture with science and technology, a cultural aesthetic, and a philosophy of science and history. In essence, it argues that science fiction storytelling media should include black people. Afrofuturism combines traditional imagery of the Pan-African diaspora with sci-fi elements, setting it apart from other sci-fi genres. While Afrofuturism was not a new idea in literature, it was almost unheard of in cinema, which was a revelation when I saw it for the first time. As the images were combined with the Kendrick Lamar soundtrack and African horns, it suddenly felt more like a black event rather than just another black movie. The teaser blew up the internet and got people talking all over the world. It also had a large number of black people attending each screening, including the one I was taken to for my birthday a long time ago. Every theater showing became a mass party and celebration. And for good reason. The film was a smash hit with both fans and critics, and it awoke the black imagination in ways that most thought were impossible. This film sent shockwaves throughout the African diaspora and the entire planet. It came as to no surprise that the world was already anticipating the sequel to what many, including myself, regard as a semi-masterpiece, and particularly in the comic book movie genre. Everyone was also looking forward to the triumphant return of a new black icon, King T'Challa, as played superbly by Chadwick Boseman. Marvel accelerated the anticipated sequel's production to begin in June 2020, despite a slew of production delays for a variety of reasons. Chadwick Boseman would then tragically die in August of 2020, much to everyone's surprise, after a long battle with colon cancer. We lost an actor who was arguably on his way to becoming the greatest actor of this generation, as well as a huge inspiration for millions of black boys and men around the world, including myself, when Chadwick died. And we lost the anchor of a rare comic book franchise that truly meant something, as well as an irreplaceable movie star. When Ryan Coogler, the director and co-writer of Black Panther, agreed to go ahead with the sequel after Boseman's death, as he considered stepping away for a while, he knew the already daunting task of creating a film that could live up to the first film had multiplied exponentially. I personally think that at the time, it was wise of him to not replace Boseman with another actor. You don't try to replace someone who could not be replaced. But I think the movie, after seeing it, did a pretty good workaround, but that should be saved for the spoiler review. Instead, Coogler's approach in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is daring in its own right. Working once more with co-writer Joe Robert Cole, the filmmaker has woven his leading man's death into the very fabric of his own story. It's a grieving process that everyone must go through in order to come out the other side, and I certainly felt that in my theater, as there wasn't a dry eye in the house, including mine. As the Woman of Wakanda, led by Letitia Wright Shuri, struggled to fill the void left by T'Challa, Ryan Coogler stages less of a typical Marvel film and more of an intricately sharp and intense geopolitical thriller. What's really interesting about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is that it's the first MCU movie in a very long time where the only movie you really need to see to appreciate this one is the first Black Panther film, as it's more or less a straight sequel, which is very refreshing, and it further gives Black Panther: Wakanda Forever a timeless feeling, back when sequels were just sequels and didn't have to connect to a much larger or more established franchise. It also helps that this film doesn't feel like the following widget to come out of the MCU assembly line. This is something that other MCU projects have mainly been guilty of as of late. What's also very refreshing about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is the very, very high stakes, as the death of Chadwick Boseman lingers over this film, and artfully so, and Namor and his people actually present a dangerous and deadly threat. And even though this film doesn't really connect to the entire MCU at large, the world building and the character development for both the characters of Wakanda and Talokan, Namor's underwater kingdom, keep you incredibly engaged and tuned in, and give you plenty to talk about after the film. Also, there is also such high stakes, not just for these two warring kingdoms, but for the entire world with vibranium, especially as it's become a precious and coveted resources by people and governments that are less than trustworthy. Now, is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever a flawless film? It's pretty darn close, but it's certainly not without flaws. For one, the third act drags a little bit, and the spell of the movie was temporarily broken by an out-of-place montage. And then, when they shot underwater scenes in a movie like Aquaman, they were done dry to wet style, which looked amazing. However, in this film, for the sake of beautiful cinematography, no doubt, it seems like the people behind the scenes simply stuck the actors in water tanks. And as a result, they don't give the impression that they actually live in the depths of the ocean, like how the cinematographer meant it to. And in some scenes, you can just tell that some of the actors were just standing in front of green screens, which has just become a regular Marvel problem, not just specific to this film. But there were also a few shots on top of the giant warship at the end of the third act where the scope of the movie falls short. The battle seemed way too small for what the implications were and the stakes at hand. On the flip side, for almost the entire film, the story does feel very grand, with Wakanda and its people looking and feeling as majestic and powerful as ever, thanks to the amazing and immaculate score by Ludwig Göransson and lending itself to other Afrofuturistic motifs. which again helped make Wakanda in the films what it is and make it such an iconic place in cinema already. In terms of the characters, it's so unfortunate that Letitia Wright felt the need to drag herself into anti-vaccine drama online, because her performance as Shuri is phenomenal, and it's the through line of the entire plot of this film, Shuri's grief over the death of T'Challa. What makes Shuri such a compelling character in this film is that she's quite touchingly a lot like and shares the same qualities as her brother T'Challa. She's regal, reserved, compassionate, yet sharp and shrewd, and is on her way to becoming a successful leader. Wright also delivers a stunning portrayal of someone struggling and just wrestling with grief, yet still trying to move forward the best way she can. It was a phenomenal performance, and I felt her pain through the screen. What makes her performance even better is that her performance was to an extent based on real, true emotions, as Chadwick Boseman actually did tragically die. On the other hand, Tenoch Huerta brings the character of Namor to life from the pages of the Marvel Comics. To see him move so powerfully in the sea, land, and in the air is indeed thrilling to see. Namor is on the level of someone like Magneto from the Fox X-Men movies in terms of how effective and complex of a villain he is, as he's truly like this polar opposite of Shuri in this film, as grief is both towering over them over the loss of loved ones, except Namor's vengeance has fully consumed him, and Shuri is battling over vengeance trying to consume her. And what makes him even more complex is that all of his actions in this film are in the best interest of his people, or at least how he sees it. Angela Bassett, Lupita Nyong'o, and Denai Guerrera and Dominique Thorne are all powerhouses in this film, with both their incredible scenes and their strong personalities constantly bursting through the screen. Bassett has a genuine shot at an Oscar nomination and possible win for her incredible work in this film, and Denai as Okoye and Lupita as Nakia is as sensational as ever in this film, like many others in the cast, of very emotional quality that gave them a lot to work with. Riri Williams has sadly always struggled to connect with a vast majority of comic readers, but thankfully I think this version of the character, crafted by Ryan Coogler and acted out by Dominique, will bridge the gap and will give fans the feeling that Tony's legacy is in good hands now, like I do. While still being able to break through and making a strong impression, Michaela Cole has very limited things to do in this film, especially with her romantic relationship with Ayo in the comics almost completely cut out of the film. Furthermore, this is another instance of a big franchise like Marvel queer-baiting its audience, once with this and last time in Thor: Love and Thunder. As for Ryan Coogler, who is returning from the first film as the director and co-writer, along with Joel Robert Cole, Coogler does an excellent job furthering the world of Black Panther, Wakanda, and the Talokan. And not only does he expand this world, but he also anchors it. The production design, costume design, score, cinematography, acting, writing, and direction all work and fit together beautifully with impressive action. This makes the smallest of scenes and details thrilling and exciting. In conclusion, despite its flaws, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is still a beautiful, well-crafted film that everyone should have the pleasure of experiencing. This is one of those once-in-a-lifetime films, in my opinion. Everyone needs to go and see it, and everyone needs the time to grieve with the cast. It's a beautiful tribute to one legend, Chadwick Boseman. So that was my review for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. What did you think? What did you think of this movie? What did you think of this video? Share all of your thoughts in the comment section down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And also follow my Instagram so you never miss the latest updates on when videos are mine are coming out. And to also just like and admire some fan art of mine that I regularly post on there. Some of that should be showing up on the screen right now. Alright, and the link to my Instagram is always underneath all of the videos in my description. But if you're working on my Instagram tag right now so you can follow me immediately, that should be showing up on the screen right now. Alright, bye everyone.
I am queen of the most powerful nation in